Dear students, today we will discuss about the municipal waste, its segregation and uses. Solid waste management is a key challenge in India and is known to adversely impact the environment. We generate more than 1.5 lakh metric tons of solid waste every day. This includes not just garbage or municipal waste, but also other forms of wastes like e-waste, plastic waste, hazardous waste, etc. Over the last decade, the Government of India has set various kinds of rules and guidelines to manage all these different kinds of wastes. The different types of wastes generated are: number 1, municipal waste. Municipal waste is the most ubiquitous and socially important contributor of waste. It is the waste produced by any individuals and household as they go about their lives. Any society may be an important source of municipal waste, but modern urban society contributes much more as compared to the rural societies. Municipal waste comprises both liquid and solid wastes. Open dumping of such wastes contaminates the water bodies. Public health is also threatened as these wastes attract vector-borne diseases. A considerable increase in municipal solid wastes can be seen due to the rising of urbanization and lifestyle changes. Urban India generates around 62 million tons of municipal solid waste every year. Number 2, plastic waste. The accumulation of plastic objects in the environment is broadly termed as plastic waste. Plastics come in different forms, and the single-use plastics like the plastics bags, straws, bottles, etc. are the ones that are widely used. Since these plastics are non-biodegradable, they are known to disrupt the life of all living organisms on this planet. Uncollected plastic wastes on land have resulted in the choking of drains, leading to numerous waterborne diseases. Careless disposal of plastic waste blocks the porosity of the soil, thereby affecting the soil fertility. Most of the plastic wastes that are not disposed of properly on land finds its way to the ocean. In the marine environment, these plastic wastes interfere with the food chain of the marine organisms. Number 3, e-wastes or electronic waste are the discarded electrical and electronic products like computers and their peripherals, home appliances, audio or video devices. These products contain toxic metals like lead, cadmium, beryllium, chromium, etc. E-wastes generally become hazardous when they are recycled or disposed of by primitive methods, such as simply dumping it into the garbage bins. Once exposed to the environment, these toxic chemicals can cause severe health problems. For instance, lead, which is usually found in circuit boards and computer monitors, causes damage to the nervous systems, affect the kidney and reproductive systems in humans, and hinders the brain development in children. India is the 5th largest generator of the e-waste in the world. We generate approximately 2 million tons of e-wastes annually. 4th, biomedical waste. Biomedical or hospital wastes are the kind of waste which have been generated during the treatment or immunization of humans or animals in a medical or research laboratory. This type of waste include syringes, discarded medicines, bandages, etc. The discharge of toxin from these biomedical wastes can gravely affect terrestrial and marine ecosystems. These toxins, once consumed, can prove to be fatal for some organisms. Many biomedical wastes can also potentially lead to the spread of infectious diseases. Number 5, construction and demolition waste. Construction and demolition waste is generated due to activities related to construction or demolition of roads, buildings, bridges, subways, etc. This type of wastes particularly includes non-biodegradable materials such as concrete, plaster, metal, wood and plastics. a part of this waste combined with the municipal wastes. If such wastes are not managed properly, they can pollute the land and the air. Sixth, hazardous wastes. Hazardous wastes are kind of wastes which are reactive, toxic, flammable, explosive or corrosive in nature and causes a threat to the health or the environment. Such wastes are generated by industries involved in the manufacturing of petroleum, paints, pharmaceuticals, etc. Unscientific disposal of these hazardous wastes lead to the emission of toxic chemicals. These chemicals are responsible for air pollution and degradation of water bodies. Workers employed in such practices suffer from neurological disorders, skin diseases and cancers. Seventh one is the radioactive wastes. Radioactive wastes form a part of the waste that contains radioactive elements. These radioactive elements mainly come from mining activities and nuclear power plants. Radiation emitted from this kind of waste are known to disrupt the environment. Such radiations may damage the eyes, injure the skin cells, causing sunburns, and can have long-term effects like cancers and tumors. Now we will discuss municipal solid waste. Municipal solid waste, MSW, also called urban solid waste, is a type of waste that include predominantly household waste, domestic waste with sometimes the addition of commercial wastes, sanitation residues and wastes collected from streets by municipality within a given area. They are in either solid or semi-solid form and generally exclude industrial hazardous wastes. Municipal solid wastes can be broadly categorized into following categories. First one is the biodegradable wastes, which include food and kitchen wastes, green waste, vegetable, flowers, leaves, fruits, paper, etc. Second one is the recyclable material, which includes paper, glass bottles, cans, metals, certain plastics, etc. Third one is the inert waste that include construction and demolition waste, dirt, rocks, debris, etc. Fourth one is the composite wastes, which include waste clothing, Tetra packs, waste plastics such as toys. Fifth one is the domestic hazardous waste, which is also called as household hazardous waste, and toxic waste include medication, e-waste, chemical, light bulbs, fluorescent tubes, spray cans, fertilizers, and pesticide containers, batteries, etc. Now let us discuss composition of municipal solid waste in a typical Indian city. The general composition of solid waste being generated from the cities of India is 40% food and garden wastes, 5% glass and ceramics, 3% metal, 15% inert, 4% plastic rubber, 6% textiles, 27% paper. Now let us discuss municipal solid waste collection. Collection is the component of waste management which comprises lifting and removal or passage of waste material from the source of production to either point of treatment or final disposal. Collection of generated solid waste is the crucial part in MSW management. Efficiency in collecting solid waste and segregating it decides how well solid waste is managed. Collection includes not only the gathering of solid waste, but also the transport of these materials after collection to the location where the collection vehicle is emptied. This location may be a material processing facility, a transfer station, or a landfill disposal site. Broadly, MSW collection involves the following functional elements. Number 1. Collection from non-point source. This stage includes door-to-door collection of waste. Most collection is done by the garbage collectors, who are employees or by firms under contract to the government. Garbage collectors employed by local governing bodies manually collect the waste generated at the household level and dump it into the community bins at specified street corners. Municipality is responsible for door-to-door collection of waste from houses, offices, small shops, and small markets. People are also required to deposit their waste in containers, community bins, whether stationary or haul types, from which it is collected by municipal crew. The vehicles used in this stage for collection is small and simple and varies from place to place. It may be a two-wheeled cart pulled by an individual or bell-ringing vehicles. Number 2. Collection from point source. Waste collected from non-point source is deposited to definite point source, namely communal bins. Communal bins are placed near market, in apartment complexes, shopping complexes, hotels, public places like gardens, religious places, etc. Vehicles collect large amount of waste from these point sources and then transport it to the transfer station and disposal sites. Manually or mechanically loaded compactors are often used in this stage. For better MSW management, garbage should be lifted frequently from these point sources. Frequency in lifting garbage from these points really matters. Otherwise, garbage will eventually pile up and can create problems. Number 3. Transportation to disposal sites. Transfers refers to the movement of waste or materials from collection points to disposal sites. Transportation of wastes from collection point to disposal sites is carried out by using different types of vehicles, depending on the distance to be covered by them. Larger vehicles carry the waste from collection points to the disposal sites. Comparatively, small vehicles discharge waste at transfer stations, where the wastes are loaded into larger vehicles for transportation to the disposal sites. Transfer stations are centralized facilities where waste is unloaded from smaller collection vehicles and reloaded into larger vehicles for transport to a disposal or processing site. Now we'll talk about the segregation of waste. Segregation refers to the process of separation of municipal solid waste into 4 groups, that is, organic, inorganic, recyclables, and hazardous wastes. It is a critical requirement since it enables recycling, reuse, treatment, and scientific disposal of different components of wastes. The waste dumped in a community bins is a mixed type of waste, that is, all type of waste, biodegradables, recyclables, inert and non-biodegradable wastes is found in one bin, which becomes very hard to manage. People at large are not aware about segregation of waste. Different color bins are promoted in some cities to segregate waste, but segregation at what point is not enough. It should be followed at all stages, such as at household level, transfer station, or centralized sorting facility, waste processing site, etc. If collected waste is well segregated, then it will be treated well in the end. Segregated recyclable waste, if reused, can reduce the quantity of waste. In order to encourage the citizens, municipal authority shall organize awareness programs for segregation of wastes and shall promote recycling or reuse of segregated materials. The municipal authority shall undertake phase program to ensure community participation in waste segregation. For this purpose, regular meetings at quarterly intervals should be arranged by the municipal authorities with representatives of local resident welfare associations and non-governmental organizations. Now we'll talk about the segregation of waste at household or source level. Waste segregation at the source is an integral part of the source reduction strategy and is essential for improving the quality of waste for recycling and recovery. Segregation will enable better value for the recycled material being sold and increase the quantity of recyclables as well. The urban local body shall supply bins for households in the first year and subsequent replacement shall be by the household. Non-domestic sources shall purchase bins at their own expense. Issue of bins. The main strategy is to separate the biodegradable wastes such as organic matter, leftover food, vegetables, fruit peels, paper, textile, wood, etc. and non-biodegradable waste like inorganic and recyclable materials such as plastics, glass, cans, metals, etc. at the source itself and store the waste in different colored bins. This saves the time, makes segregation easy, and can cover more areas for the waste collectors. Segregated storage can be achieved through a continued and organized awareness creation, motivation, and subsequent enforcement. The sole responsibility is for those who generate waste. Non-segregation of domestic hazardous waste. Domestic hazardous waste requires special handling and disposal because of its harmful physical and chemical characteristics or biological properties. Hence, there is a greater need for proper segregation of such wastes. Mostly, the urban local bodies do not notify and publicize the list of items classified as domestic hazardous waste to be segregated at source. Consequently, many people remain unaware of the effect of non-segregation of domestic hazardous waste, and as such, contaminated mixed waste reach the landfills. Absence of incentives, mechanism and enforcement. Various activities and methodologies are required to be adopted by the urban local bodies to ensure proper segregation of waste at source. One such methodology is providing incentives in the form of rewards, grants or subsidies. While all efforts should be made to educate people to effectively participate in the management of waste, they also need to be made aware of the penalties if they fail to discharge their civic duties. The provision for penalties should be made known to the people, and details of those punished should be publicized widely to deter others. The above observations indicate the test-checked ULBs made very little effort to emphasize the importance of segregation of waste at source. This is due to lack of micro-level planning, citizen cooperation and awareness, stringent laws, bylaws, etc., infrastructure such as bins, partitioned vehicles, storage facilities, and incentivization for effective segregation at source. Segregation of wastes at transfer station or central sorting facility. Sorting at the waste storage depot, transfer station is not desirable. However, if source level sorting is not developed, then such sorting may be allowed till a household level sorting and collection system is established. Since source level segregation is still absent in many areas of the urban local bodies, there is a need for ensuring segregation of waste at least before it reaches the processing or landfill sites. The local authorities shall set up material recovery facilities or secondary storage facilities for sorting of recyclable materials. Failure to segregate resulted in the failure to recover the recyclables, thereby leading to dumping these resources in landfills. It also led to suboptimal use of precious landfill space. As such, failure to segregate waste at different stages resulted in dumping of mixed waste on withdraw platforms, landfills, leading to ineffective waste management. Dumping of mixed waste on the withdraw platform also results in the reduction in quality and quantity of compost. Now we'll discuss important issues related with municipal solid waste generation. First one, non-point source. There are different sources which generate the municipal solid waste in large quantities, which is difficult to manage. Any place where human activity is involved finds solid waste. Waste is generated in the form of vegetable remaining and food waste, used plastic bags, plastic containers or bottles from residential areas. Due to urbanization and population growth, many construction activities are seen in recent years, resulting into creation of construction or demolition wastes or debris. Industries are one of the major sources of municipal solid waste generation. This sector generates waste from activities like raw material packaging, transportation, final product packaging, defective product, etc. Workers working in such sectors also contribute to waste generation through office, stationeries, paper, daily activities, especially excreta and other liquid and solid waste from the community. Offices, commercial complexes, industries, educational institutes, residential complexes generate overall waste in remarkable quantities. Number 2, attitude. People at large do not care about the waste and so never they take effort to dispose it properly. Waste generation is mostly related with attitude of society towards it. In developed countries, people are aware about how to minimize generation of waste. Limited population makes it simple for them. In developing countries, particularly with large population, things become very difficult. Number 3, impacts. When the waste is dumped, because of its composition, it does not decompose very quickly, making space unavailable for other waste. Unmanaged heap of waste cause adverse impacts to the environment as well as human health. Waste is a serious health hazard and lead to the spread of infectious diseases. Unattended waste lying around attracts flies, rats, and other creatures that in turn spread diseases. Air pollution is another factor to be considered. Normally, it is the wet waste that decomposes and releases a bad odor. This leads to unhygienic conditions and thereby causes rise in the health problems. Other than this, co-disposal of industrial, residential hazardous waste with municipal waste can expose people to chemical and radioactive hazards. Uncollected solid waste can also obstruct storm water runoff, resulting in forming of stagnant water bodies that become the breeding ground for disease-causing agents. Wastes dumped along roads, riverbanks, abundant quarries, seas, and lakes results in inevitable effect of contaminating water supplies as well as affecting the whole aquatic chain. 4th one, institutional mechanism. In developing countries where population is increasing and illiteracy is alarming, it is difficult to manage waste generation. Most of the manpower in the governing body is utilized in providing basic services like water, health, etc. Waste management, particularly generation, becomes least priority issue. Unauthorized structures, small shops, construction activities, local markets generate huge solid waste. Local bodies most of the time does not have budgetary support to handle waste generation in better manner. Manpower dealing with waste generation is not equipped enough. Trained, motivated working staff always contributes better in minimizing waste generation. Area of jurisdiction becomes important when many governing agencies are associated with developmental works. Responsibility of waste generation during this developmental work is always an issue. Solid waste management in areas outside municipal corporation limit is also an issue of contention. Waste segregation facilitates the process of reuse, recycling, and recovery of waste. Segregating waste can improve the recycling process. For example, separating wet waste from the dry waste is a simple way to help recycling companies. It will help to recycle non-biodegradable waste and treat biodegradable waste directly. Thereby, only degradable waste will be disposed of into the natural environment, leading to less overall pollution. Waste segregation promotes the efficient use of our resources and protects them for future generation. Yet, the importance of waste segregation is not limited to that. Separating waste helps reduce landfill waste. Today, landfills are a growing problem because of increasing population and their consumption patterns. Waste segregation is an ideal way to diminish the impact of landfills on the environment, as well as health issues that can result from improperly disposed of wastes and toxins. Unless waste is segregated before it is disposed of, it might get mixed up at the landfill. Can you imagine what would happen if that waste contained methane or carbon dioxide? It could lead to serious problems because both are greenhouse gases that cause global warming. The disposal of waste without segregation may leak harmful chemicals into the soil as well. In the long run, this can damage the soil fertility and affect human health adversely. Segregating waste is also essential for public health, especially when it comes to separating hazardous and non-hazardous waste. Health-related problems can arise when waste is thrown away without segregation. Various types of illnesses can be caused by non-biodegradable and toxic wastes, including skin irritations, growth issues, and more. Waste segregation also protects the health of workers who handle it directly. It is becoming increasingly important for construction companies to have a waste management plan. Financial reasons are the main reason for segregating construction waste. In the average construction business, 100 metric tons of waste are generated every year. The majority of this waste is sent to landfills, which are costly for businesses. Construction waste can be recycled more efficiently when it is separated. Also, profit margin per project increase when waste is sent to landfill less often. Yes, waste management plans are created in the office, but they must be implemented on the site. If staff is educated and trained to follow waste segregation guidelines, less waste ends up in landfills. Each and every project will benefit from lower disposal cost, lower levels of waste, and larger profit margins. Healthcare waste management strategies must include the waste segregation as a key component. Waste should be separated at the source to reduce infection risks and disposal costs. Keeping hazardous waste separated at its source ensures that it is treated safely and sustainably without putting the health of healthcare workers or patients at risk. Waste should be collected in appropriate containers, labeled and colored according to the type of waste generated. With this, we will conclude today's lecture. Thank you.